Have you ever wondered why you, or someone you care about, keeps waking up around 3 or 4 a.m., completely awake, while everything outside is still dark and quiet? Maybe it happens once in a while. Or maybe it's been happening night after night. You lie there in the quiet, staring at the ceiling, wondering what's going on. Is it stress? Is it your mattress? Is it just part of getting older? The truth is, these early morning wake-ups aren't always caused by stress or a bad bed, or even just aging. In this video, we're going to explore some of the most common reasons people wake up too early, from changes in hormones and sleep cycles, to physical health conditions, emotional rhythms, and lifestyle habits you might not think about. Hi, my name is Dr. Hashemipour. My patients and students usually call me Dr. H. I created this channel to help you better understand your body, recognize early signs of imbalance and disorders, and connect holistic wisdom with modern health insights. Whether you're here for yourself or someone you care about, I'm really glad you're watching. Now let's start by looking at one of the most common reasons people find themselves waking up around 3 or 4 a.m. It's something that happens quietly over time, often without us even noticing. And for many, it begins with a shift in the body's internal clock.
Margaret is a 68-year-old retired librarian who lives in a quiet neighborhood with her cat Luna. For most of her life, she had no trouble sleeping. But lately, something strange has been happening. Every night around 7:30 or 8 p.m., she finds herself struggling to stay awake, even if she's in the middle of a good book or her favorite show. By 8:30, she's already dozing off in her chair. She heads to bed by 9 at the latest and usually falls asleep fast. But here's the problem. Margaret keeps waking up at 3:30 in the morning, wide awake, not anxious, not in pain, just awake. And no matter what she tries, reading, meditating, lying quietly, she can't fall back asleep. By 5 a.m., she's had coffee, fed Luna, and started her day. But deep down, she's frustrated. She misses sleeping through the night. She wonders, what's wrong with me? The truth is, nothing is wrong with Margaret. What she's experiencing is something called Advanced Sleep Phase Syndrome, or ASPS. It's not a disease or a personal failure. It simply means her internal body clock has shifted earlier. As we age, our biological clocks can naturally reset themselves. Think of it like a watch that starts running ahead. Margaret's body begins winding down earlier in the evening, and that means she wakes up earlier too. Even if the outside world is still fast asleep, her brain is basically saying, it's morning, even though it's still pitch dark outside. The good news. Once Margaret understood this, she stopped blaming herself. She made a few small changes, like keeping her lights brighter in the evening, avoiding naps, and taking a short walk in the morning sunlight. And slowly, her body began to shift into a rhythm that felt more comfortable. So if you or someone you love finds themselves waking up like clockwork at 3 or 4 a.m., it might not be stress. It might just be your body's rhythm changing. And the more we understand it, the more we can work with it gently and with a bit more peace. Of course, changes in your body's sleep rhythm aren't just about your internal clock that we just talked about it. There's also something else that plays a big role, a natural hormone that tells your body when it's time to rest. It's called melatonin. And as we age, it doesn't always work the way it used to. Let me show you what that looks like by a clinical vignette. Carol is 73 years old and lives in a cozy apartment just outside the city. She's a retired school teacher who still loves crossword puzzles and taking care of her houseplants. For most of her life, she slept well, but recently she's been waking up around 2 or 3 in the morning. Not groggy, not anxious, just wide awake, as if something quietly pulled her out of sleep. At first, she brushed it off. Maybe it's just age, she thought. But it kept happening, and she started to wonder, why now? Why always at the same time? If you've had a similar experience, you might be asking yourself the same thing. You fall asleep fine, but somewhere in the middle of the night, your body taps you awake. Why? Well, in Carol's case, and possibly in yours, the answer had to do with something subtle but important: melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone your brain produces when it gets dark. Most people think it just helps you fall asleep, but it actually helps keep you asleep through the night. Here's an easy way to understand it. Imagine melatonin like a nightlight in your brain. In your younger years, that nightlight glows strong and steady, staying on until morning. But as we age, our melatonin production naturally decreases. That nightlight, it starts to fade too soon. So by 2 or 3 a.m., the sleep signal weakens, and your brain slowly starts waking up, even if your body still needs rest. That's what was happening to Carol. And without realizing it, she was also doing things that made it worse, like leaving a hallway light on at night or checking her phone before bed. Even small amounts of light can reduce melatonin production even more. She also wasn't getting much natural sunlight during the day, which the body needs to regulate melatonin properly. Once Carol learned what was going on, she made a few gentle changes. She started using blackout curtains, dimmed her lights in the evening, and took a short walk in the morning sunlight. Her doctor also suggested trying a very low dose of melatonin, just 0.3 milligrams, before bed. Over time, she began waking up less often, and when she did, she was able to fall back asleep more easily. So if you find yourself waking up in those early morning hours, don't panic and don't blame yourself. It might just be your body asking for a little extra support to keep that internal nightlight glowing till morning. Of course, not all early wake-ups are about melatonin or your internal clock. Sometimes it's more physical disorders. Let's take a look at how discomfort or common health issues can quietly interrupt sleep without you even realizing it. Sometimes waking up at 3 or 4 a.m. isn't about your sleep schedule at all. It's your body trying to get your attention. As we get older, things like joint pain, abdominal pain, acid reflux, or a full bladder can quietly wake us up in the middle of the night. Or sometimes, even mild discomfort from lying in the same position too long can be enough to interrupt deep sleep. For many people, especially men, waking to urinate becomes more common with age. Add in medications that might affect hydration or body temperature, and it becomes clear these early wake-ups aren't random. They are physical signals. But the good news is, once you recognize them, you can take small steps, like adjusting medication timing, using pillows for joint support, or limiting fluids before bed, to reduce these interruptions and sleep more soundly. But sometimes it's not about your body sending distress signals at all. It's not pain and it's not hormones. Instead, it's your daily routine. The small habits you've built, often without even noticing, can quietly train your body to wake up earlier than you'd like. Let's talk about that. Sometimes your early wake-ups aren't caused by hormones or health problems at all. They happen because of your daily habits. The small things you do every day that slowly teach your body when to sleep and when to wake up. For example, after retirement or big life changes, many people start having dinner earlier, moving less during the day and going to bed sooner. Over time, you might start falling asleep by 9 p.m., so naturally your body finishes its rest by 3 or 4 a.m., right on time. Evenings that are calm and quiet, with soft lighting or dim rooms, can make your brain think it's bedtime earlier than it really is. That's because your body starts producing melatonin when it gets dark. And if your days don't have structure, like regular meals, exercise, or social interaction, your internal clock can slowly shift earlier without you realizing it. The good news? You can gently shift it back. Try staying up just a little longer, using brighter lights in the evening, and adding a walk or light activity during the day. Small changes like these can help your body move toward a wake-up time that feels better and more natural. Sometimes it's not your body waking you up, it's your mind. In the quiet hours of the early morning, when the world is still and there are no distractions, Your thoughts finally have space to speak. You might not feel stressed during the day, but at 3 a.m., your mind may start sorting through old memories, unfinished conversations, or quiet worries you didn't even know were there. For many people, especially later in life, this is also when loneliness or a sense of emotional emptiness can rise to the surface. It doesn't always feel heavy. Sometimes it's just a soft ache for connection or a mind that won't turn off. And while this kind of waking isn't fixed by pills or blackout curtains, it can feel easier with simple, comforting habits, like listening to soft music, saying a quiet prayer, reading something gentle, or even leaving a voice message for a loved one. Just a small moment of peace or connection before bed can help your mind feel heard, so it doesn't need to wake you up to process everything alone. So now you've seen it. Waking up at 3 or 4 a.m. isn't always a mystery, and it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. Sometimes it's your internal clock shifting early, also known as advanced sleep phase syndrome. Sometimes it's a drop in melatonin, that gentle hormone that helps keep you asleep. Sometimes it's your body speaking through physical discomfort or health-related interruptions, like pain, reflux, or the need to use the bathroom. Sometimes it's the result of your own lifestyle habits that shift your sleep rhythm. Small daily choices that nudge your body into an earlier wake time. And sometimes it's not physical at all. It's emotional and psychological restlessness, a quiet voice in the night asking to be heard. Whatever the reason, the most important thing to remember is this: your body is trying to work with you, not against you. And once you understand what it's saying, you can stop blaming yourself and start making gentle, helpful changes that support deeper, more peaceful rest.
Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you, please consider liking, subscribing, or sharing it with someone who might need it too. And if you've experienced these early wake-ups yourself, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your story. Until next time, take care of yourself and sleep well.